Amur honeysuckle, Lonicera mackie, a case study of the impacts invasive plants can have. In the Midwest, the bush honeysuckles are a common and abundant invasive species. They can be identified as upright perennial shrubs with many deciduous, oppositely branched stems. Flowers are usually white or yellow with reddish fruits, and they have the ability to displace native shrubs, herbs, and sometimes trees, and can be found growing oftentimes in monotypic stands. In Wisconsin, the four most common bush honeysuckles are the Amur honeysuckle, the Morrow's honeysuckle, the Tatarian honeysuckle, and the hybrid Bell's honeysuckle. Shown here are the different species with their associated distribution map in the upper Midwest. The red states indicate a widespread distribution in that state. Orange suggests that the distribution is locally abundant and is not noted in the majority of counties. Yellow indicates isolated solitary populations, and then white states there's limited information available or that species just has not been documented as present yet. All four of these species are characterized as having the same invasibility potential by the Wisconsin DNR. For the purpose, though, of this presentation, we're going to be focusing on the first one, the Amur honeysuckle, as the majority of the research has been focused on this species. Although, the overall impacts are similar, if not identical, to the other honeysuckles. The Amur honeysuckle can be identified as follows. The leaves are opposite, oval, or oblong and are hairless to downy and green or bluish green. The flowers are reddish pink and are white, tubular in shape, and often arranged in pairs. In addition, those flowers can be fragrant. The fruits are red, orange, and or yellow, and are bunched in pairs with lots of viable seeds. The roots, although not pictured here, are fibrous and shallow, and plants can grow from 6 feet up to 20 feet in height. Several key characteristics make the Amur honeysuckle a successful invasive plant species in Wisconsin. By nature, as an upright shrub, the Amur honeysuckle can outcompete nearly all native plants for sunlight. This allows populations to dominate and produce a large number of fruits. Those fruits are eaten by birds and other animals and spread across long distances. Seeds are passed through the animals and deposited into the soil where they can germinate the next spring. These seeds in the soil, also known as the seed bank, remain highly viable, helping to establish new populations even under careful management. Honeysuckle is also resistant to pests and rarely is affected by insects and diseases, unlike desirable vegetation. Finally, honeysuckle can grow in a wide range of conditions, from full sun to full shade, waterlogged to dry soils, and also a range of soil types. Thus, we say it has high plasticity in the ecosystem, as it adapts well to changing conditions. These species are originally native to northern and western China, Mongolia, Japan, Korea, and parts of southeast Russia. They first arrived as an ornamental planting in the United States sometime around the end of the 19th century, about 1898. They were originally planted for their landscaping appeal as a hedge, as well as for erosion control. While they are good at meeting the original objectives for planting this species, they also invade native ecosystems. Amur honeysuckle can be found in a wide range of habitats in Wisconsin. The most common and likely places that this plant will invade include recently disturbed areas, such as this blown-down old-growth forest in Wisconsin. Plants readily establish from animal dispersal and begin to dominate. Wetlands such as fens and bogs are also sensitive to invasion. These areas are important for conservation, as many endangered or threatened species are found in these locations. Forests are also sensitive to invasion, and while populations initially establish along the forest perimeter, this is often just an entryway into the entire forest. As discussed earlier in general terms, there are several economic impacts of invasions. We're going to focus on the impacts of Amur honeysuckle identified by research here. Impacts include the costs of control and the adverse effects on production systems. Amur honeysuckle can be controlled by using herbicide. However, this can be economically costly, as successful control and monitoring efforts require several years of attention and can be heavily dependent on stand density. In Wisconsin, cost of control can easily top $1,000 per acre, not including subsequent management of seedlings and long-term monitoring practices. In timber production, The time of forest regeneration following an invasion, as well as the control and monitoring efforts of this honeysuckle, can significantly reduce yield and increase production time and costs. Studies have shown a 15 to 30% increase in regeneration time following a honeysuckle infestation. Because the timber industry is roughly 6% of Wisconsin's economy, with 1,800 companies and about 100,000 employees, this one species can have a large impact on the state's economy. Although much more difficult to specifically determine, honeysuckles pose countless threats to native ecosystems. The ability of this plant to dominate plant cover directly reduces the biodiversity of other plant species. While plant diversity is the initial concern, evidence exists that all biodiversity is actually reduced by invasion. Native fish, birds, and even soil microbes can be altered by those invasions, and ecosystem processes such as soil nutrient cycling have been documented to change, as well as a depletion of soil moisture. These changes may facilitate the incorporation of other non-native species such as garlic mustard, which can certainly compound the issue. Litter material from Amur honeysuckle plants has been shown to modify stream pH and nutrient conditions, making them unfit for some fish species and tadpoles. Migratory birds require fatty fruits and seeds for long flights, and studies have shown that the Amur honeysuckle fruits may not provide adequate nutrients for these birds. In addition, increased predation may occur in songbird populations who nest in Amur honeysuckles compared to native shrubs or trees. This may be due primarily to lower nest height, branch structure, and also the lack of thorns in the exotic species compared to native shrubs. Soil microbe communities, both fungal and bacterial, exhibit alterations within just a few months' time in areas where Amur honeysuckle is present. These changes may contribute to lower nutrient cycling in the soil and the facilitation of other species that require specific soil conditions. Risks to human health have also been observed, as Amur honeysuckle has potential to increase the presence of the lone star tick, a species known to carry infectious diseases. Small changes in community structure can have enormous impacts on the ecosystem, which may have marked long-term effects on plant, animal, and microbe populations. After 10 years, significant alterations to communities have been observed, and if control and monitoring efforts are not maintained, after 20 years, ecosystems can be irreversibly changed by Amur honeysuckle. The magnitude of these impacts on climate change and the extent to which community changes like this can affect human health is still very difficult to measure. The University of Wisconsin Extension has available fact sheets on many invasive plant species found in Wisconsin, pictured here on the right. These fact sheets have basic information on the history of the species, proper identification, and also various control methods. While control methods are widely well known, early detection and rapid response to invasions by Amur honeysuckle remain the best practice for reducing the species in the community. In addition to early detection, follow-up treatments and monitoring is required for several years to effectively remove Amur honeysuckle from an area. Proper restoration methods may also be necessary to keep the Amur honeysuckle from recolonizing that area. Please see the UW Extension fact sheet on bush honeysuckles for more control method details. In conclusion, Amur honeysuckle represents a tremendous threat to Wisconsin's economy, native ecosystems, and overall human health. Sites that have been invaded display rapid loss of understory diversity within 10 years, and irreversible transformations after 20 years. Amur honeysuckle poses environmental threats to forest productivity, which may lead to significant economical impressions on the timber industry. Honeysuckles alter nearly all aspects of native forest ecosystems in Wisconsin, from native vegetation and animals to soil and stream dynamics. Not all is lost with this species, however. There are control methods available as long as they are implemented and monitored over the course of many years due to the viability of the seeds in the seed bank. Restoration efforts are considerably more intense after long periods of invasion. First detection and rapid response is incredibly important when controlling Amur honeysuckle. This honeysuckle is just one of many invasive species examples in Wisconsin that creates adverse economic and environmental impacts.